Hey everyone, I'm David Karen with IndustrialSage. Today's executive series, we want to take a moment and reflect on a few of our past executives and highlight some of their insights.
The IndustrialSage Executive Series, sharing the stories behind game-changing executives, their organizations, and insights into today's industry challenges.
Let's start with Corey Flemings of JBT, who had some great insights about automated robots, AMRs, and AGVs growing in the workforce, even in some environments we may not expect, like hospitals or sub-zero freezers.
Many people would, I guess, be surprised to find out that many of the hospitals that they go to actually have behind the walls their automatic guided vehicles running behind the scenes.
Really?
For example,
Okay.
Ohio State University, they have, I think, 64 vehicles at the facility, and it's really an intra-logistics system of the hospital.
Yeah.
You've got food to deliver, you've got dirty laundry to take out, you've got trash to take out, you've got surgical cabinets that need to move, supplies come in from the supply room that need to be distributed through the hospital. There's a logistics system that's completely automated in that hospital that actually has elevators that goes from the basement all the way to the 23rd floor. Greenville, South Carolina has a hospital that's completely automated.
And that's all behind the scenes kind of thing?
Right.
So like
the patients don't even know that they're there.
Okay, interesting.
What we're starting to look at now is moving with AMR assistance to move into patient rooms using these kinds of AMR vehicles as well. What's rather new in the marketplace is a vehicle that will actually work in minus 20 degrees centigrade temperatures. Think about how much it costs your labor, right? If you have to, those of you who have at least freezers know how much you have to pay for labor to go work in a freezer all day. So these vehicles live in the freezer and they work 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. They get charged by getting charged through the wall, right? The chargers can be outside the freezer. They plug up on something that comes through the wall, and the vehicle stays in the freezer and keeps working. Revolutionary, really. This has been something the freezer companies have been asking for a long time.
Next, we had Tim Vargo of Exide, who discussed business sustainability and addressing the desires of different generations within the workforce.
Everybody's always looking for the easy solution, and so lithium has come on board here over the last decade or so. People were saying lead acid is dead, lithium is the solution. Kind of forgot lithium's got a lot of stuff in it that people don't like either and isn't good for the environment. And oh, by the way, it's not something that's completely recyclable yet and may never be.
Really?
And so we're dealing with a couple of things. We do lithium today. We buy lithium cells, we assemble them, provide solutions for a variety of different energy needs, from backup power to motive power for forklifts and that sort of thing. But it's a complicated problem because the industry isn't old enough yet to have developed the full recyclability. So we've got to be good stewards of that product as well. So, and that's exciting. Now that I'm old enough to remember people saying that when I was young, the work ethic had gone down the drain and we didn't have the same work ethic. And I've been around long enough to hear that for my kids and now my grandkids. And what I would tell you is we find a great workforce out there today. They're easily motivated, providing you are giving them reasons to work from where they like to work and how they like to work.
Yeah.
And so challenge for old guys like me is to try to figure out how you can make sure you're providing a work environment for today's employees differently than we had in the past.
Yeah.
And I think our company's doing a really good job of that.
Matthew Putman of Nanotronics shared his timely insights on this era of rapid technological advancement and COVID's impact on that development within the supply chain.
We've had, for your life and mine, you've had something called Moore's Law, which you're familiar with. Are you familiar with Moore's Law? That basic idea is that you have computational power that increases at the same price, and at the same time, price and cost for us comes down as things get faster and better. But there's also something that's happening that is a bit dangerous and a challenge. So to make those electronic devices the factories to build them are exponentially getting more expensive. There are fabs, which are fabrication factories to build semiconductors, that cost over $20 billion to make now. To build a factory, it's unthinkable for any other generation or any other time. Any other time, meaning even 10 years ago, this was unthinkable. So a huge challenge is to bring about some of the changes that I was mentioning earlier in order to make factories much, much less expensive. If you don't do that, the barrier to entry is going to be huge. I mean, you can imagine the barrier entry for you to create a podcast, or for us to write an app that might be interesting for our phones or for the computer. The barrier to entry is only our imagination and what we want to do with it. The barrier to making a factory right now can be billions of dollars.
Finally, we'll leave you with a teaser from next week's Executive Series interview with Tom Galuzzo of IM Robotics. You're not going to want to miss this episode.
If you think about people shopping in the United States every year, for instance, customers do 40 billion hours a year of shopping. And that's effectively, going to the grocery store, mostly going to the grocery stores and grocery shopping once a week, couple hours. And if you add all that up, all that labor that it takes, but the customers are basically doing for free, their own last mile fulfillment, if you will, by doing shopping. 40 billion hours is the equivalent of like 20 million full-time jobs. And so what happens if you were to move all of our buying goods online, that 40 billion hours, or that 20 million full-time jobs, it just cannot be replaced.
Yeah.
There isn't enough unemployment in the country to be able to, and the vast number of people that are looking for jobs, they're not interested in going to do this kind of shopping and e-commerce work.
Yeah.
So what that means is that as things continue to move online, you have to automate it because there just isn't enough people
The
available.
workforce.
IndustrialSage is an open platform where companies can showcase their expertise and solutions to a captive audience of industrial professionals. Thank you for listening to this week's episode. You can subscribe wherever you get your podcasts, and while you're there, please leave us a review. Want us to tell your story? Go to IndustrialSage.com. This week's episode was produced by Rika Wiersma, filming by Donovan Jones, editing by Rika Wiersma, music composed by Oliver Michael, and executive producers Danny Gonzalez and David Karen. This is the Industrial Sage Executive Series.